1 minute. Am I unmuted
I'm glad I'm
now?
not the only
Control?
one who does that.
Okay. So you couldn't even see my mouth moving to know that I was muted and didn't know it. So I'm going to say everything again. You guys surely can hear us now. Welcome to Trail Talk. I'm Edie, and this is Scott, our very special guest. He's the executive director here at the Heritage Center, but we're really glad to have him on this side of the camera today instead of behind the camera where he usually
I would
is.
be the one who.
He would be the one who forgot to unmute us. Anyway, we're glad to have you guys back. We had a nice break for Christmas. Scott's family is still in Florida, and so he traveled back there for Christmas and New Year's. And then my family celebrated Christmas the COVID way. And so I've been out sick for a while, but it's really good to be back. It's good to see all of you guys. So today, I don't know if you noticed or not, but the name of today's Trail Talk is Hindsight is 2020, a look back and a look to the future. 2020 is gone, folks, and we survived it, and we're hanging on for 2021, right? Am I right?
We're here, we're in it right now. This is it.
This is it, like it or not. So Scott came here, Scott Metelko, I'm sorry, I should have given your full name, Scott Metelko. Scott started here at the Heritage Center last February.
February 4th, I believe.
Okay, February 4th. So we're coming up on his 1-year anniversary of being here in Duncan with us. And as I said, his family is in Florida. So when Scott came here in February, he was anticipating a much different length of first visit before going home. It actually took about 9 months.
9 months.
It was 9 months before he got to go back home because of all of the craziness that happened. But he stuck it out, you guys. He's still around. Yay! Maybe he signed a 1-year contract and he's had to or something. I don't. Yeah, he's counting. He's got a calendar. He's Xing the days off. But Scott came and led us here at the Heritage Center through a year that was unanticipated by anyone. So, Scott, when you came here, I know that you probably had some goals set for us here. Kind of talk about some of those goals you had, or just in however specific you want to be about it, and kind of some of the challenges that you met that maybe you didn't expect.
Okay. Yeah, so I was actually hired in December of 2019. And, so that gave me about 2 months in the time that it took me to organize getting moved here and figuring out where I was going to live and how all this was going to work. So it gave me about 2 months to think about what I wanted to do here. And I always know that going into a new place, you know that you're not going to be right about all of it. I had spent, we were talking earlier, I had spent all of about 2 hours here at the Heritage Center. Mm-hmm. I had briefly met a handful of people here, and I kind of got a glimpse of what it was, but not what the underlying dynamic was. Mm-hmm. And so, I know that looking at that, I was like, okay, well, this needs to happen or that needs to happen. I was pretty sure about a lot of things, knowing that when you hit the ground, you're going to be wrong about some of them and you've got to adjust and move in a different direction. So I had that 2 months, and I had what I thought was a really good plan, and I still maintain that it was.
We will never know for sure
right.
If it was a good plan,
but as soon as I got here, I mean, even when I was actually moving out here, the news reports started coming in about this virus and, mm-hmm. and how bad it was spreading. And, that was on my radar from the first day. And it wasn't, after I got here, it was about a month and a half later that we actually had to shut the doors here. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And through that month and a half, you remember, there was so much uncertainty. There's, news reports that are coming from all different directions, and nobody really knew what was what. It was hard to get any good solid information
Right.
out of what was out there. So, so a lot of my time was taken up initially just trying to work my way through that and
Kind of
make sure that-
navigate what was new to everyone in the world.
Yeah,
basically.
and make sure that we were prepared for whatever was coming next.
Mhm.
If we did have to shut our doors, what were we going to do, and how are we going to do that, and how are we going to be able to keep employees employed and keep everybody working, and then at the same time keep everybody safe. So
Mhm.
that was a good bit of the energy that I had went to that in that first couple of months, and then once it kind of became clear that things were going to be different, we moved in a different direction. We started looking at what we could do for the Heritage Center and keep everybody employed and move our mission forward. And one of the first things that we needed to do was have a good cleaning out.
Right.
And so
Right.
for really a month and a half, 2 months, every day was to come in and find new places for things, and find things that we really didn't need to have here anymore, and find a way to let those go.
So just like you probably spent some time at your house doing some spring cleaning, COVID spring cleaning, that's what happened around here too.
Yeah.
And we had received a special grant to do some kind of updating and some things, right? Didn't we?
Well,
Yes.
we got some of the relief from the
Okay.
CARES Act, some
Uh-huh.
of the PPP and some of the other parts of that gave us the ability to keep everybody employed.
Right.
And then
Right.
it was just a matter of making sure that everybody could kind of go to their own place and not have to work that closely together.
Right, yeah.
To keep everybody safe.
Yeah, exactly. So, so we kind of did some structure, not structural, but some
Decluttering.
decluttering, yeah.
Yes.
And if you happen to get to know Scott, you'll find he is a low clutter man. No clutter,
Right.
no clutter. So that was a good thing for us around here, because things had just kind of piled up and had kind of gotten away from us, some of it, and so that's a good thing.
And you can see it when it's cleaned out. You can actually kind of see what's here, what you have to work with, and how you can shape that in a new way.
Right, and it took us a little bit of time to adjust to where things are now, and we're still in the process of reorganizing a lot of that.
I still can't find anything.
Yeah.
Right?
But one of us will find it. One of the gals. That's another thing. Scott is the lone man, the one guy that works here at the Heritage Center. The rest of us are all women, and so we hadn't had any men who worked here. This is my 6th year. I'm starting or finished my 6th year, I guess. And so that we never had a man who was one of the employees here. So that brought a new dynamic to the place as well, which turned out, I think it's worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I feel like it has.
Yeah, so, he's just one of the girls. Kidding, I'm kidding.
But you were talking about decluttering and cleaning things out. Savannah mentions that I am definitely not one of the girls over there.
Yeah,
She
no.
knows. But, where we're sitting right now, which is inside the Garris Gallery.
Yes.
So we're kind of all the way in the back side of the Garris Gallery. And we've made this this little room here that we call Foundations. And a lot of the artwork that's in here, that's behind us and behind the camera that you can't see, are things that have been kind of locked away in the vault for a long time. And that was, again, one of the things that I wanted to find a way to do is to either rotate or find new spaces to exhibit artwork, because we do have this great collection. how are we going to get that out where people can actually enjoy it? Because it does nobody any good in the vault.
Right.
It is good every once in a while to have some changes and some new things come in and to move things around a little bit. But until it, just because of the way my mind works, is until we cleared all the clutter out, I really had a hard time thinking clearly about what this was going to be. And once we did that, it became pretty obvious how to organize the gallery and to do that in a new way that's engaging and is welcoming and has a little bit of something for everybody. And so,
and you haven't come in to see the gallery in a while. You really should, because what would you say, probably at least twice as many pieces of art are on the walls now as what we had out before.
Yeah, well, it's not
guess.
all like this, like what you're seeing here.
No.
The majority of the gallery is a traditional hang.
But just to be able to feast your eyes on so many pieces is it's fantastic. And it's one of my favorite things that we've done, is how we've changed the gallery, because I always had it was a little bit sad to me that so many pieces were in our vault and not out for people to be able to appreciate and enjoy.
Right.
And so, because we have just so many great pieces by a lot of really great artists.
And having them out like this, I mean, this is, this little area here is by far my favorite area in the museum. And Savannah and others can attest that I come back here multiple times a day. I walk through the gallery as a way to kind of break the day a little bit for me. And I see something different everywhere I go. And the reason that I like this particular space is you'll notice that when you come and visit and you come back here, it does something to your eyes. It activates your eyes, and your eyes are going to move in ways that you're not used to. And not in a stressful way, but you'll notice that your eyes will focus on different places, that they'll move around, because there is so much that can catch your eye and move you from place to place in here. And that's what I really love about it. And
actually, the word foundations that was chosen for this area is based on those elements of art that do cause your eye to focus and see different things, whether it's the line, the color, the movement, the space, there's so many more elements that I'm not going to name all of them, but to be able to experience all of those. And it's just lovely the way it's all laid out back here. It's really great. And then we put the art kind of a little more, I hate to say the word categorized, but it's kind of put together more so that, and there is a good flow. There are we were talking about that earlier today, about how certain things kind of move you this way or move you that way, as you walk through. And it's just a really great experience.
Yeah, I would say so. There are 6 distinct rooms that we broke the gallery into, this being one of them. And there are, each room, it really strives to tell its own story. And they're as different as one of the first rooms that you come into is Native Americans. And there's an awful lot going on in there as far as the history of Native American art and how that's developed. But there's also, we have Oklahomans, which features art by and about Oklahomans.
Right.
Cowboys, there's just a lot of different ways or a lot of different stories that we've identified, and we tell those stories through the artwork and how you progress through the rooms.
And we moved we have some visitors. I hope you guys can hear the kids enjoying our the art in here. But we also have our rotating artists
Featured artists.
Featured artists,
Yes.
okay, the featured artists. We have that area in the gallery as well now. And so we have a fresh look every few months in that particular room. And so that's a really fun addition to this.
Yeah.
And just keeps all of the art kind of together in one area, the fine art that we have here.
Well, yes and no, because we've also, I'm actually going to move a little bit closer to where our microphone is here. So we've been trying to identify places throughout the museum where we can hang additional art. So outside of the Garris Gallery, pretty much everything that we have that's on exhibit is there for sale from a lot of different local artists.
Right.
And so it's a great way for us to feature local artists, give them an opportunity to exhibit in a way where they don't have to exhibit a ton of artwork. They can just bring a couple of pieces and be featured in.
Right, yeah. Someone is so excited about one of the pieces they just saw, in fact. So let's change direction just a little bit now. And by the way, I'm sure you can tell that the sound travels really well through here. So you're not going to lose anybody if you come in our gallery. Trail Talk. Now, we've talked about this a couple of times, but I mean, you had a vision for this gallery, and I think that kind of developed over the year, and it finally, we put it all together. It was a great team effort.
Absolutely.
And it turned out beautiful. But let's talk about another thing that was a result of, I guess you said it was an idea, a goal that you had set for yourself prior to coming here, but the pandemic itself really, I feel like, laid the groundwork for Trail Talk.
It forced us to do something. And I knew that we wanted to do some kind of a digital outreach. One of the things that I looked at when I first applied for this job is tried to gather as much information about it as I could online, and there really wasn't a whole lot. I couldn't really understand what the layout was or what assets were here or any of those kinds of things. And so I knew that we needed to do something to get out there in front of people on a weekly basis. I just didn't know what that was about. And you'll remember, I mean, Edie does characters for our education program. And when I first got here and I saw her do the first one, I thought, there's something there that we can use also outside the education program. And so we had a few conversations about what that would look like. And you looked at me kind of like you're looking at me now, like I had three heads. Like, what are we, like, how would that work? Like, I don't know how that would work. I just know that there's something there for us to develop. So I knew that we wanted to do something like that. And when we had shut down and we were kind of coming to the end of our cleaning and clearing and decluttering process, I started looking at what we could do to get out there online. And at that point, everybody was going to Zoom for school. This was in April.
Right.
And so I thought, okay, well, let's see what that's all about. I've never used that as a platform. I've never seen it used as a platform to do this, but maybe it's something we can do. And so we started out with that, doing Zoom meetings.
And the early days were crazy.
They were high energy, I can tell you.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, those first Zooms were.
The reason that we say that is that there were, at that time, there were a lot of what we came to call Zoom trolls.
Yes.
And they were looking to disrupt in any way they could.
Yes.
And all of their disruptions weren't appropriate for our audience.
Right.
And so what you couldn't see in those early ones is behind the scenes that we had computers all over the building scrambling to make sure that our content stayed appropriate for our audience.
And having to just move people out of the meeting, just
Yeah.
the whole time we were on. Yeah, it was pretty chaotic.
But we persevered through that, and we figured out ways that we could minimize that and still have people come in. And then we realized at some point that why don't we start utilizing, I just went dark for a minute. This happens from time to time.
There we go, yeah.
Why don't we start utilizing other platforms? And we started with Facebook, because that's where everybody is right now. And started live streaming through the Zoom app out to Facebook, and it's grown quite a bit because a lot more people actually get to see the broadcast.
Well, and the beauty of it is that they don't have to be watching at 2:00 in the afternoon.
Right.
They can, you guys know you're probably watching at a different time right now from when we're actually recording this. So that is part of the beauty of it, is people can look at it at their leisure instead of having to schedule it into their day. And that makes it, I think, a lot more convenient for people.
Yeah. And because we were able to do this with existing equipment we had on hand, and with existing personnel we had on hand. So we were able to stand this program up without having to go get grant money without having to write the grants and then wait for a year to get started on doing it. We were able to just jump in, get it going. And then now we're starting to kind of up our game a little bit as far as equipment, and things look a little better. They sound a little better. They actually have light on.
Right, we have light now, yeah.
We would have been sitting pretty much in the dark.
We don't have to position ourselves under a directional light that's in the ceiling.
Right. With the shadows underneath your eyes.
Yeah.
And don't even get me started on cowboy hats, because you know that at the Heritage Center, we have a lot of cowboy hats with our guests here on Trail Talk, and lighting that can be a challenge sometimes.
Right. So we apologize for all the faces that were hidden from you in the days gone by. Thanks for sticking it out with us.
That's right. We call that our silhouette period.
Yeah. That's funny. And so beyond our weekly Trail Talk episodes, we have also been able to adjust to have virtual field trips now. And so I just love that we have been able to just get right on that virtual bandwagon and just participate. We are able to be in any school, anywhere. As a matter of fact, we were contacted by a school in Wisconsin, and we were able to do a lesson, just from one of our lessons that we have here, a regular lesson with high school students in Wisconsin. So it really opened the door for us to not just be able to teach to children who live within an hour or two of the Heritage Center.
Right.
Now we can be anywhere, and that is just so exciting to me. I love that.
Well, and see, I also see, and we've talked about this. I think there's other ways to grow with that. What we have here, and I realized this very soon after I got here, is over the years they've developed really great content, and the way that they were getting that content out there was through field trips primarily. That content wasn't really shared with guests when they came in. It wasn't really shared with anybody outside the walls here, which really limited the audience for it. And realizing this, how good that content was, that's when I quickly said, well, we've got to find a way to get this outside the walls. And so it's great that we're teaching classes around. We're looking at ways to be able to advertise, to expand that a little bit more. But we're also looking for ways that we can expand that more within our community. So where we can move kind of up and also down a little bit in the age ranges that we work with.
Right.
So there's no reason that we couldn't have, a couples night or a series of things here at the museum where you come in and it's part learning club, part book club, part date night, where we can have the same kind of content and find ways to get that out there. So that is something Speaking of looking to the future,
There's one for the future, guys. I told him I'm gonna try.
finally we're into the future.
I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get this on video so that none of us who work here are blown away whenever he throws something new at us.
And also, I think so that next year at this time, when we have the
Yeah.
same conversation,
Yeah.
we can laugh at all the things that I said.
Exactly. I'll have a little TV here and just show all the things that he said were gonna happen. Yeah, that sounds, I think that those are, it's really fun to me to not be limited.
Right.
And to just really be able to increase our audience and our viewership or, attendance in different ways.
Well, yeah, it's like those kids in Wisconsin, like this was a group of high school kids in Wisconsin, young adults in Wisconsin.
Right.
When are they going to have the chance to even virtually come to someplace like the Heritage Center and be able to learn a little bit from the kind of institutional knowledge that we've built up here about the cattle drives of the 19th century, the Chisholm Trail, and all of the people and cultures around that. Yeah, it's just, we have really great stuff here. We're just going to find ways to get it out there.
Yeah, so that's an exciting look to the future for 2021. So we did the cleanup, we did the gallery, we did trail talk. Were there some other goals that you found they just kind of got stuck because of the pandemic? Did it hold us back from any of the things you were hoping?
Yeah, the very first, and this is a little esoteric, but the very first goal that I have, the most important thing to me, is that we begin to craft a really high quality guest experience. And because we had no guests, and then because we had very few guests, and because our focus had to be on other things, that's one thing that we haven't accomplished yet. And so that's definitely a priority moving forward as things kind of open back up. And, we're seeing a little bit more traffic here, not a lot, but a little bit more. And I think as the vaccines start taking hold and people get comfortable again, probably the second half of this year, we're going to see that ramp back up.
Right.
And the other thing is events. That's a very important thing for institutions like this to do, is to provide events for the community. It helps bring people in from the community, and it also helps get us out there in the community. And our very first big event when I got here was Cowboys and Cobblers, which was a kind of a cobbler cook-off sort of thing, but a half day of entertainment and art projects and things for kids. And that was scheduled for early April. And so that was canceled. We're struggling right now to even this year figure out how we're going to do that in a safe way, and whether or not, what that event's going to look like.
Right.
It's not what we want it to look like, and it's not where we know it's going to be as we move forward. We're just, want to make sure we don't jump the gun. And do something that's not safe.
Well, we still were able to do like a modified National Day of the Cowboy.
Right.
Which was really well attended, I thought, considering all of the different, just all the caution everybody had.
Right.
During the summer.
That was in July, where here, that's when really the virus started kind of ramping up here. It had been pretty well absent from this county up until that point.
Right.
It was just really starting to get onto people's radar.
Yeah, and so, but it was a great day. It was short, but we did not want to miss the National Day of the Cowboy. It's tradition here.
Right.
That we celebrate that day. And so we were able to do that. We still had our summer art Monday, free family art Mondays, because that's an outside activity. And so every Monday in June and July, we had art outside, and well, I'm sure we'll do that again this year, this summer. And then we were able to pull off a rather large event in November, Raining in the Arts. Like, horse reining in the arts. And it was a great, we had, was it three different
stages?
Three different stages. We had cowboy poetry, we had musicians. That was a COVID.
That's how you say musicians here at the Heritage Center. Everybody has to do it. It's just...
Gosh. Musicians, and we had Native American dancers, and we had food and beer and wine and art
for kids. And
little kid craft things.
And we had CTAC was
here. The
Chisholm Trail Arts Council.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic day, and we had a lot of visitors that day, and it was all outdoors.
Yeah.
And so that was well attended, and I mean, people were still very cautious, but I thought that was a really great event, and we intend to keep that one on the calendar.
Yeah, that one we really want to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And get as many people involved as we could. We wanted to have, of course, the original vision for this is we would have every arts organization in town be part of this. We have a lot of ground outside.
Mm-hmm.
We sit on about 6 acres here. We've got a lot of open space out there, and the idea was that we would have all of the arts organizations have an opportunity to share audiences. Mm-hmm. And so that if you see something, you might have, like I might have come to hear cowboy poetry, but I heard a musician that I wouldn't have gone to hear, or mm-hmm. I would have seen something, with theater troupe or, a dance troupe that mm-hmm. I wouldn't have gotten out, left my house to do.
Right.
But it's all right here. So we're really excited about that one moving forward. I'm very hopeful that, by next November or September, when was
it's November.
Mm-hmm. By next November, things will be in a place where we can have that as both an outdoor and an indoor
mm-hmm.
event.
Right. And it was a really fun day. It was like the windiest day on record in Oklahoma, without question. But it was still
just for the first part of the day.
Just for the first 5 hours of the day. The last hour, it was really nice to be outside. But no, seriously, it was a really great time. So I'm excited that that's an event we can look forward to in 2021. Are there any other things that you're kind of looking into the future now? I mean, I feel like all in all, 2020 was just a great year. We talked about this earlier. There was a culture change that happened here at the Heritage Center, and it has honestly just been so great. I think all of us who work here, I just think that we feel just like we're a big cohesive team, and all the new ideas are just very fun and exciting to think about and to plan for. And
that's interesting to hear you say that, because that's usually not the reaction I get when I bring it up initially.
Well, maybe we're a little taken aback initially. But I mean, it really, I think that the successes that we had in 2020 will just help us to, catch the visions.
Confidence.
It's just, like I said, it's been a culture change for us here. Not just a new boss came in, but a new boss with a whole new way of looking at things, and then pile a pandemic on top of that. And, you just had to think outside the box and roll with things. And I think it just kind of helped us all. I think hopefully you'll find us a little more cooperative. I guess I'm the one on record now.
No, I don't mean to imply that they've been uncooperative in any way. After the initial conversation. It usually just takes a little while, and some of it is I'm approaching the conversation with my base of experience, and their base of experience is completely different than mine. Mm-hmm. And to introduce something new, to say, hey, we're going to do a digital outreach program.
Right.
Like, you guys don't have any idea what I'm talking about, and you start asking questions, and it doesn't sound like, and
Yeah,
I don't have all the answers at that point because I'm not sure what we have to work
right,
with, and
right,
so
yeah.
I'm
We get there.
I'm playing with you guys a little bit, but
Yeah,
it has, and also, to be honest, I mean, somebody who comes in and tries to do things differently, it takes a while to build the trust in the team that, yes, I'm going to ask you to do things that you might not be initially comfortable with, but I'm going to make sure that you have all the resources that you need to do that, and I'll be right there with you every step of the way, and make sure that you're going to be a success in whatever we do.
right, right, yeah. So, what other, visionary things do you have for 2021? We talked about a couple of things.
Well,
New events, hopefully new ideas for when we get filled up with visitors again.
yeah, and we'll continue the work that we started. So there are things that are happening around us that are going to help us. So there's these walking trails that have been developed around here, and they're almost done with the section that's right here by the Heritage Center.
Yeah.
And my understanding is that's going to move ahead again soon. I hope
Good.
so.
Good, I do too.
But once that's in place, I mean, even now, before that's in place, in the mornings and the evenings, there are a lot of people out here. And so we've already started experimenting with kind of ways that we can tap into that. We did an event called Spot the Station.
Right.
So if you're out here walking in the evening, which there weren't that many people at that time, but
yeah,
it
was cold. It was winter time.
Right. This is a place where you can stop and grab a bottle of water or a cup of hot cocoa and spend 10 minutes, or it was 6 minutes, watching the space station fly across the sky.
But there was the lead up to it, I mean, everybody's here probably 20 to 30 minutes before, and just kind of chatting and everything. That was a very fun.
And so that's sort of a way of including the community in what we're doing here without having to, there are a lot of ways that we can serve the community besides having them buy a ticket and come through and see the things. There's a lot of assets around here, and we want those to be community assets.
Right, right. So that's going to be, and I'm sure that, as the year goes, you guys just stay on our Facebook page or however you get your information. Our website has changed also.
Yes.
And it's been updated and changed, just everything on it. It's completely new.
Yes.
And it's a lot easier to navigate and find things on there. And so,
and that was a community effort. So we got funding from a lot of different places, including the CVB here in Duncan. A couple of foundations pitched in to help us with that. And also our own foundations that support us help with that. So again, that was a real community effort to put that in place. And now we've just got to make sure that we keep that as a live thing as it moves forward.
Right. And so, guys, 2020 was just a year full of unexpected situations and change. I mean, a new director, a lot of new ideas, but I hope that you feel like your first year here, maybe you didn't get to check all of those goals off, but I hope that the ones that you did meet, I mean, that was very satisfying for you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then as we just look forward to what's going to happen, you guys stay in touch. Keep watching us here on Trail Talk,
or better yet, stop on by. Say hello.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone wears masks here. We've got lots of wipes and hand sanitizer everywhere. And so we want you to feel safe while you're here. And so, yeah, stop by and see us. We're open from 10 to 4, Tuesday through Saturday. And then Sunday is, we're not open on Sundays. We're not okay. So we're closed on Sunday and Monday, but Tuesday through Saturday, we're here from 10 to 4. Oh yeah, good one, Bailey. Just another activity, or event. I don't know what you call this. It's a weekly.
It's a program.
A program, thank you. My brain is still foggy. A weekly program that we have that just started this week. We call it Cowpokes and Brushstrokes. And it's on Monday afternoons, 1:45 to 2:30. And it's for 2 to 4 year olds. Call us at 252-6692 and ask about it. Ask about you can just say Cowpokes. We all know what it means. It is so much fun. It's my favorite part of the week. We do this twice a year for 6 weeks, I believe, 6 or 8 weeks.
I think it's 8 weeks.
Okay, for 8 weeks. And it's just we do a couple of art projects. We have stories and songs, and we just have a lot of fun together. So check us out.
And one of the neat things about starting with this session of Cowpokes is we're able to offer that virtually. And so what that means is if you're not comfortable leaving your home with your child, or if you've got grandparents that want to spend some time with the kid, they can join us virtually. And so we'll set up a Zoom meeting like this, and they can come in, and it can happen a bunch of different ways. So if you just want to participate from your own home, we'll have the art materials that you would need to do that here on Monday morning. You can come in at any time Monday and pick those up, and then you can follow along and do the project from home.
Right.
Even if you're not together, say if you've got grandparents in one city, or another state, and they want to be involved with their kids as well. The kids could be here, they could be on Zoom with them. And so there's just a lot of different ways that you can do that.
Right. And if you can't get up here and you want to know what we're using for supplies that day, give us a call and we can give you the list of things. You probably have a lot of the things at home. We don't use things
not
that
specialized.
No, not at all. It's like what you'd find around the house kind of things for our crafts. And the songs and the little word games and the stories are always really fun. So even if you tuned in and didn't do the art with us, you could catch in with the songs and stuff, and it would just be a lot of fun. So that is a new addition to our Cowpokes for this session. So thanks for mentioning that. And you guys, thank you for being so faithful and watching Trail Talk too. It has just really become my personal favorite time of the week, especially with our field trips a lot lower in number than what we've had before. It's just a great way to be able to share information, teach, introduce you to somebody, and just have a really great interaction.
And help local artists reach a new audience.
Right. Really promote. I mean, we've really had a chance to help a lot of people promote their craft, whether it's photography, painting, musicians.
Taking pictures of snakes.
Yeah, exactly. Snakes on the plains, guy. I mean, man, we've had a lot of different really great
musicians,
things.
All kinds of things.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you so much, Scott. Thank you for being on Trail Talk today.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. I had a blast being on this side of the camera,
exactly. Yeah, you get to see at least half of his face right now. So
well, usually at the very beginning you get to see
the part where he's like trying to start. That's funny. Well, thanks again for watching, and it's time to sign off. So 1, 2, 3. We count to 3 and say happy trails together.
Good.
So 1, 2, 3. Happy trails. Bye, guys.